This morning, Ark Survival Ascended released on Steam. And this isn't Ark 2, this is like a re-release of the original Ark, but it's running in Unreal Engine 5, so there's a ton of graphical updates and a few kind of quality of life and UI changes, just kind of all of the things that they learn over time with the original Ark, they've put into this game. You have to buy it, it's not a free upgrade, so it cost me £35 to buy, and that will include all of the expansions, so all of the expansions from the original Ark, even though they're not in the game now. Right now there's just the original map, and they've said over time they're going to release all of those different expansions, I guess building up to the release of Ark 2. So, is it worth it? That's what I'm going to talk about in today's video, just having a look at the game, what you can play so far, what kind of state it's in, because it's not perfect, and just showing you a few comparison shots between this and Ark 1. As always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. So, first of all, the performance, because this has been something that a lot of people have been talking about, and it's because the performance is pretty bad. On my system, which is a 3080 with an AMD Ryzen 9 5900X processor, it doesn't run great. Like, if I put everything on high and put DLSS on balanced, I get about 30 frames a second, and it's fairly steady unless I'm doing something absolutely crazy. But it does look good, it's just not very smooth at all, especially for the system that I'm running. Now, I'm hoping this will be an optimization thing. On the same system, I can run the original Ark on Epic, everything turned up to max at 1440p and get around 90 frames a second fairly steadily. Like, it's super smooth now. I'm hoping with Survival Ascended they'll get there eventually. But yeah, it runs badly, and if I turn everything up to Epic, it's absolutely terrible. It's like 15 frames a second. I apologize in advance for how bad some of this footage looks. You will see in all of my Ark Survival Ascended footage that the frame rate is pretty low. Sadly, there's not really anything I can do about it. I even tried putting everything on low and DLSS on like super performance mode, and I still wasn't getting that many more frames. It still wasn't smooth at all. So I decided to try and make it look pretty instead. But boy, does it look pretty. Like, here's a few shots just comparing similar areas in both the original Ark and in Survival Ascended, and you can see it looks much nicer now. Like, a big part of it is to do with the lighting, but also just to do with the geometry, what the plants look like, the shadows. There's a lot of different kind of features going on that make the game look much, much better. It is inconsistent though, and clearly, you know, Studio Wildcard aren't a massive studio. I don't think they've fully got to grips with Unreal Engine 5 yet. There's still loads of weirdness going on. Sometimes plants look really strange when you look at them in front of water. If you go into forests and things like that, often it'll end up with this weird strobing effect where I guess leaves are moving in and out of the light, and it makes everything kind of flash a little bit, which looks bad. And there's still all of the same kind of animation and pathing issues with all of the creatures and the dinosaurs. So you'll still see dinosaurs kind of gliding around a little bit, not really interacting with the terrain properly, not interacting with each other. They'll be clipping through walls sometimes, clipping through each other. It kind of looks bad at times, but if you get it just right, if you just kind of get to the right location, look in the right direction, it's the right time of day, it looks absolutely stunning. And I think it looks much, much better than the original. So it's a definite upgrade in that sense. It's just still not perfect. I still don't think we've seen a game really take control of Unreal Engine 5, take advantage of the engine in the way that we were hoping for a couple of years ago. In terms of everything else, it's pretty much the same old Ark. Like, everything will be super familiar to anyone that's played it before. There's a few tweaks and changes that I think have been made just over years of them working on Ark. I haven't played the game for a couple of years now, so I'm not sure how much of this was in the base version, but there's things like now you can't put upgrade points into speed, so you can't end up running around super fast, unless the server allows it. And it is worth noting that even on this early version of Ark, you can already get private servers, you can already change basically everything about the game, so how the monsters behave, or the dinosaurs behave, how you level up, like how much XP you get, many materials you get from crafting. Basically everything is moddable. It supports mods, so you'll be able to create mods for it, and people who have created mods for the old version of Ark will be able to do the same for this. So there's an incredible amount of support for things, I think, because the game is just so similar. But another thing that's similar is the way that it's launched. If people remember the original Ark, there were loads of problems with there not being enough servers, and servers crashing all the time when there were updates and things like that. the same thing's happening. This game has crashed on me so many times. I was streaming it for about 3 hours earlier, and I think I had about 4 or 5 hard crashes where it just kicked me out of the game completely. Servers were going down all of the time. Right now, there's tons and tons of servers up, you know, so the servers for different continents, so there's PvP and PvE servers, but nearly all of them are full. And whenever you go on a server, already people are kind of claiming land and everything. Because remember, this isn't really a new game, so people kind of know how to min-max on it. For a little while, people were just cheating, but they wiped all of the servers again a few hours after it launched. And then now already people are claiming all of the best spots of land. People are griefing by, you know, building buildings where the metal spawns would normally be. There's a lot of issues with the game. I'd strongly suggest, if you want to play Ark, the right way to play this is either playing it on a server with a whitelist where, you know, there's a community that you know and you know won't mess around with stuff like that, or playing it by yourself, playing it solo, and obviously you can just run a local version of it, and then you don't have to worry about servers crashing and lag and things like that. But that kind of rough side of the experience is definitely still there. I ended up, after jumping between a couple of servers, running on a PvE server for a while, and lots of people running around just putting a single foundation down to kind of claim their land and then moving on. There was loads and loads of glitches, so loads of times where dinosaurs would either be flying in the air a bit or would be scooting around each other. Sometimes, you know, one of them knocked me unconscious and couldn't eat me, couldn't kill me, couldn't finish me off because their pathing was so bad. They were just running around in circles. I guess their turning circle was too large. There's just loads and loads of issues that I remember back from the early days of Ark, and they're here again. They don't seem to have been fixed at all. Things like building, on the other hand, are much better than they used to be. It's really, really simple now. I think it's using kind of whatever version of the building they currently have in Ark, and everything snaps together easily. If you make a mistake, you can just pick something up again. All the stuff like that seems to work really well, and it's just as fun as ever. Like, Ark is a super fun game at its core, and that hasn't really changed in this. There's just been kind of the addition of all of these new engine bugs, the terrible performance, and lots of server problems because kind of they're having to open up new servers for this while running the old game as well, and I think that's caused lots of problems. In conclusion, if you were bored of the original Ark's gameplay or you just didn't like the original Ark's gameplay, I wouldn't bother with this personally. I don't think it's worth the money. Maybe wait until Ark 2, because that sounds like it's going to be an entirely different beast. You know, it's third person only, much bigger focus on story. I think that's going to be a very different game. But if you're desperate for some more Ark and you want some updates and things like this, this is a nice sort of fresh way to play it, and I think it's a lot of fun. But thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you've got any questions about the game, put them in the comments below, and I'll see you for the next one. Goodbye.